talk about the treatment for iron deficiency, and that depends on its cause and severity. Now, so to find out more about this issue, we're speaking to Dr. FERRIMED, who's joining us to explain how treatments may include dietary changes as well as supplements, and how the goals of treating iron deficiency are to treat its underlying cause. As always, Dr. FERRIMED, it is so good to have you with us.
Thanks so much for having me again.
I don't know if this is a silly question, but what is the right amount of iron needed in our daily lives to be able to prevent iron deficiency as well as iron deficiency anemia?
So I think it's a well-asked question because it is very relative. We think that you need about 1 to 2 milligrams of iron a day, but to just choose food that has the right amount of iron in, which very few people would be able to do, doesn't necessarily mean that iron is actually being absorbed in your body in the first place. So you can't really tell people, eat this and then you're going to be okay. Everybody's different. It depends how you're losing it. It depends on the underlying reason for the low iron. It depends on your age, male, female. So the lady's going to need a lot of iron, and specifically around her period time, she's going to need much more iron.
You've mentioned before, if you can't get all of the iron from the foods, however, if you are going to go the route of using a supplement, what are some of the key things that we need to look out for?
So the supplements really are varied, diverse. They've been around for a long time. And really in the past, we've had a lot of iron supplements where not a lot of emphasis was put on how well they were being absorbed. But as time progressed, because of the side effects of the iron supplementation, the difficulties, the commonness of it, science has really stepped in to say, look, we think we can provide you something that actually has evidence. They go through ratings processes where SAPRA and FDA would look at the iron supplement, and they want clinical trials and evidence to show that this tablet will present to your body this amount of iron, which would then guarantee this amount would be absorbed from that iron. So science has really stepped in on newer irons, and so much so that you can't even buy them off the shelf anymore. So the really good irons are now a pharmacy, a doctor, somebody's controlling that. One could, in theory, overdose with iron because the irons have become so good that we can't just take iron as we feel and choose. And because it is a temptation for people when they feel tired to just think, I'm sure it's just an iron thing. Or, you know, your granny will say, oh, I remember this happened to me and it was always my iron. And then it becomes a little dangerous when you just start chomping on iron, because really the side effects are unpleasant, unbearable, in fact. And so a lot of people will stop using it with this sort of false impression that it doesn't work for me. And that's really not true.
Let's speak about the diet. What do you think? What impact does diet have on iron deficiency?
Diet really is everything. So all of the nutrients we use, as a doctor, the type of medicine I practice, which is metabolic, functional, nutritional, I believe your food becomes your medicine. So we ideally want to get all our elements and minerals and electrolytes, nutrients, phytonutrients from the food we eat, and we absolutely can. But the key is, with a lot of people would agree, is varieties of diets, moderation of diets. It's quite important in your eating that you are taking in what we call a heme-based form of iron, which is normally what we get from animal types of food. So meat is still the easiest and best form of iron supplementation or increase. In fact, in a body, the liver probably provides the most iron per cubic centimeter of any part of my body, which unfortunately most people have a little funny reaction to eating liver, but it's an essential and an awesome food. If you could put it in a bottle and sell it, it would be great. It would smell funny though. There are plant-based forms of iron, so foods like lentils, foods like your dark leafy greens, sweet potatoes, eggs do contain iron, but these sometimes contain an iron now, or generally contain an iron called non-heme. It's a plant-based iron, which we aren't as good at absorbing or digesting from our diets. So you will get it in, but you have to almost eat a larger volume of it to get the type of iron in that you need to keep your levels at that 1 to 2 milligrams per day that we feel like you should have as a minimum. And as I said, for your ladies, that would even be more, especially around period time. And so a lot of the cravings that ladies have, sort of just before periods or during periods, is related to this nutritional deficiency that the body experiences, where sometimes it is magnesium, calcium, iron, are the supplements which actually just make me feel better. So my body goes looking for it, craving for it. So food is essential for maintenance. I do struggle to believe that you're going to supplement or correct a low level just from food. It's an enormous amount of food you're going to eat. You're really going to struggle to do it.
And what's the best way to incorporate this into our daily lifestyle? I know you spoke about liver, you spoke about meat and, supplements, but what is the best way to incorporate this into our lifestyle?
So just variety. I think for all of us, whenever I meet somebody who's doing a diet which excludes a food group, you immediately worry about the nutrients from that group that they're no longer getting. And people are not as concerned with micronutrients as they are with macros. So we talk about carbohydrates, proteins, and fats as though that's all we get from food. But it's really these tiny little parts of it. Iron, vitamins, nutrients, salts. These are the things that keep our bodies running and working well. So at the end of the day, you need large varieties of foods, preferably not overcooked, because we tend to lose a lot of our minerals when we overcook our food. The old ways of boiling foods, you're going to lose a lot of your minerals when we boil these minerals out of our food. So raw foods, fresh foods are especially good for us. And then even sort of a medium cooked steak is probably going to give you more than a well-done steak, interestingly. But just variety is just the key.
Because that's the only way you eat a steak. Medium.
It is weird, right? But it's true.
Dr. Fourie, as always, I wish I could keep you on this couch for longer, but it's always so good to have you with us.
Right, thank you so much.
Well, everyone does get tired from time to time, but if you feel exhausted every day, you may be suffering from fatigue, which is a symptom of iron deficiency. Now, if you are concerned about your symptoms, it's important that you find out with certainty whether iron deficiency is the reason by speaking to your doctor in order to work out what is causing your symptoms and how to treat it.
1 in 2 healthy South African women suffer from iron deficiency. Speak to your healthcare professional about getting tested and treated for iron deficiency. Brought to you by FERRIMED.